Welcome to the next video on VEP. In the previous video we have talked about how to calculate your ecological footprint. The question asked were related to food, housing and transportation. And all these are related with your lifestyle. In this video we are going to see what is ecological footprint, and I have referred these two websites for the video. So let us start. After going through the contents of this video, you will be able to define ecological footprint, define biocapacity, describe ecological deficit and reserve, define or describe Earth Overshoot Day, and understand India's ecological footprint. So let us start. Just see the picture. The world map is presented to you. Here you are seeing that green color coding and red color. The terms used are biocapacity creditors and biocapacity debtors. If biocapacity is greater than footprint, then it becomes biocapacity creditors, and if reverse happens, that is footprint is greater than biocapacity, then the country is known as biocapacity debtors. So what exactly footprint is and what do you mean by biocapacity? So basically footprint means land and water area needed to produce the resources required by the human population and to absorb the humanity's carbon dioxide emission. While biocapacity represents the biologically productive area available to provide the resources that we use, that is the human population, and to absorb our waste. So if you see, the green color coding is from dark to faint, and again the red is from dark to faint, and it depends upon whether the biocapacity is greater than footprint by more than 150%, in between 100 to 150%, 50 to 100%, or 0%, 50 to 0%. Same is the case with red color coding, debtors. If footprint is greater than biocapacity by greater than 150%, then this color dark red has been used. If you see, what are the biocapacity creditors, which country? So in North America you can find Canada is there. Again in South America, Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina and Peru. Again in Africa, if you see, Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Ivory Coast and all those things. So these are the biocapacity creditors. And what about debtors? So United States of America, Mexico, Cuba. If we talk about Asia, India, China, Pakistan, all those countries are biocapacity debtors. If you go to this website and if you click on the country, you will find all the related data. Now coming on to the ecological footprint. The footprint measures human demand on nature expressed as a single, easy to understand number that scalable from an individual to a global level. Originally, Wackernagle and Rees called the concept as appropriate carrying capacity, and in 1990 they conceived this at the University of British Columbia. The ecological footprint launched the broader footprint movement, including the carbon footprint, and is now widely used by the scientists, businesses, governments, individuals, and institutions working to monitor ecological resource use and advance sustainable development. In 1996, Mathis and William published the book Our Ecological Footprint: Reducing Human Impact on the Earth. So basically, this concept was originally named as appropriate carrying capacity, and later on the term ecological footprint was used. So what exactly it means? That the ecological footprint measures how fast we consume resources and generate waste. What are the resources? So energy, settlement, timber and paper, food and fiber, seafood, compared to how fast nature can absorb our waste and generate new resources. From where this is coming? Carbon footprint, built up land, forest, cropland and pasture, fishery. So this diagram clearly explains the ecological footprint measures in comparison with this thing. How fast the nature can absorb our waste and generate new resources. So in continuation with the previous discussion, ecological footprint accounting measures the demand and supply of nature. On the demand side, the ecological footprint measures the ecological assets that a given population requires to produce the natural resources it consumes, including plant-based food and fiber products, livestock and fish products, timber and other forest products, space for urban infrastructure, and to absorb its waste, especially carbon emissions. While on the supply side, a city, state or nation's biocapacity represents the productivity of its ecological assets, including the same thing: cropland, grazing land, forest land, fishing grounds and built up land. These areas, especially if left unharvested, can also absorb much of the waste we generate, especially our carbon emissions. So ecological footprint tracks the use of 6 categories of productive areas, that is cropland, grazing land, fishing grounds, built up land, forest area and carbon demand on the land. Let us consider this graph. If you see here one term, that is global hectares per person has been used, and here you are seeing the years. The red line represents ecological footprint, green one represents biocapacity. The area denoted by this red is representing ecological deficit, and the area denoted by green is representing ecological reserve. So let us understand what exactly global hectares are. Basically, both the ecological footprint and biocapacity are expressed in global hectares. That is, globally comparable, standardized hectares with world average productivity. If you see the graph, the biocapacity in 60s, if you start, is around 3 point something global hectares per person, and if you trace it, it is now reducing, and the deficit between the ecological footprint has been widened. So this area is representing the ecological reserve, and this area is representing the deficit. If you see it minutely, in 1970, approximately in 1970, the deficit, the ecological deficit has started to occur. Prior to that, we are having biocapacity greater than the footprint. So let us describe what exactly ecological deficit is and what exactly ecological reserve means. So if a population's ecological footprint exceeds the region's biocapacity, that region runs an ecological deficit. Its demand for the goods and services that its land and seas can provide, fruits and vegetables, meat, fish, wood, cotton for clothing, and carbon dioxide absorption exceeds what the region's ecosystems can renew. A region in ecological deficit meets demand by importing, liquidating its own ecological assets such as overfishing and or emitting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. If a region's biocapacity exceeds its ecological footprint, it has an ecological reserve. Now consider the analysis by Global Footprint Network. In the year 2014, the Global Footprint Network estimated humanity's ecological footprint as 1.7 planet Earth. What exactly this means? This means that humanity's demand were 1.7 times more than 1.7 times more than what the planet's ecosystems can renew. So you have to keep in this mind that if ecological footprint exceeds the region's biocapacity, then we are talking about ecological deficit, and if biocapacity is more than the ecological footprint, then we are talking about ecological reserve. Earth Overshoot Day. In the year 2018, Earth Overshoot Day fell on July 29. Exactly, this means Earth Overshoot Day marks the date when humanity has exhausted nature's budget for the year. For the rest of the year, we are maintaining our ecological deficit by drawing down local resource stocks and accumulating carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Let us understand this term. If suppose humanity is using more resources and generating waste at a pace that the ecosystems can't renew, so the ecosystem fails to renew. then the earth comes in overshoot. So humanity is using more resources and generating waste at a pace that the ecosystem is failing to renew it, and the term is overshoot is used for the condition. Since 1970s, the earth has been in overshoot. As we have seen in the previous graph also, overshoot results in collapsing fisheries, diminishing forest cover, depletion of freshwater systems, and the buildup of carbon dioxide emissions, which creates problems like global climate change. And this is the major problem of the era. Everyone is talking about this global climate change. Now let us come to the comparison of India's ecological footprint and biocapacity in 1976 and 2016. The same diagram that I have shown the world map, if you click on the India map, you will see these two figures. So in 1976, if you compare, biocapacity per person was 0.5 global hectares, while ecological footprint per person was 0.7 global hectares per person. So the net was minus 0.2, that is biocapacity deficit, while in 2016 we are seeing that the deficit has increased and it has come to the value of 0.18. Definitely the GDP per person has been increased and the population has also been increased. Now we are at 132 crores. But the thing is that ecological footprint is exceeding by this much, 0.8. So summarize whatever we have learned, that ecological footprint is the amount of the environment necessary to produce the goods and services necessary to support a particular lifestyle. Basically food, housing, it encompasses energy requirements and transportation. The model is a means of comparing consumptions and lifestyles and checking this against biocapacity. The tool can inform policy by examining to what extent a nation uses more or less than is available within its territory, or to what extent the nation's lifestyle would be replicable worldwide. The footprint can also be a useful tool to educate people about overconsumption with the aim of altering personal behavior. Ecological footprints may be used to argue that many current lifestyles are not sustainable. And in the next video we are going to see what exactly sustainable development means. So basically we are going to talk about all those things related with our ecological footprint, how to reduce it and how to make the development sustainable in the next video. Thank you.